we are here for our final video for August's book club. It was supposed to be last week, but me and Charmaine needed a little more time. August was a crazy month for us. So we read The Screaming Staircase, which was the Lockwood & Co. series, which I was really excited about because it really reminded me of what I used to read back in high school. I used to read a lot of, like, I don't know if that's considered like sci-fi, but almost like a magic YA series, you know, like the Twilights, like the Awakening, the Hunger Games series, the Ugly series by Scott Westfield is one of my favorites, and now it's going to be like a Netflix series I'm super excited about. So it literally was very nostalgic for me and reminded me of that time in my life. So we're going to get right into the questions. We have 10 questions about the book. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think you guys did, from what I saw in the comments. And the second one is an option to read for September. It was in the voting poll. That's what video you guys will see next week. You will see what book we are reading officially for September. So we may be continuing with the Lockwood series, or we might be reading something totally different. It's always up to you guys, because we want you guys to be part of this community. So I post one month, Charmaine posts the other, a voting poll in our community tabs, and you guys vote, and the whatever one with the highest votes is the winner. So let's get right into the questions. Number 1. The Screaming Staircase is set in a world where ghosts and supernatural creatures pose a threat to society. How did the author establish this unique setting, and what impact did it have on the overall story? I think the author did a really, really good job of, like, getting me mentally there. I will say, I don't think there was ever a mention of, like, a year, so we don't know what year this is happening, but he does talk a lot about the past. There is references to, like, the 1800s and, you know, deaths in the past, and, you know, there is a lot of past history in this book, because it's basically people that passed away and that are basically I was gonna say coming back to life. They're not coming back to life, but their ghosts are haunting people, and they have to figure out how they died, why they died, what is keeping them here. So they have to learn the history of those people, the history of the households or the land. And you really get into that scene. Like, they talk about the ghost fog, and they talk about the fields, and they talk about the ghost lamps, and the way the author really explains the setting. I really enjoyed it. I was really able to imagine it in my brain, but I love that he didn't go into too much detail. I know people love the world building books. Don't mind Joe, he just came in. Like, what's it called? Throne of Glass and those kind of books, which I have not read yet. I do want to read them one day. I just don't have the commitment right now to read them. Maybe when I'm done with my master's program. And people love the world building. I don't know if that's something I will necessarily get into, because just like the guest list we read by Lucy Foley, she talked a lot about the setting. She talked a lot about the island. It was almost like the island was a character. And to me, I kind of got bored of that. I want to learn more about the characters. I want to get a little bit of action or a little bit of romance, depending what I'm reading. So I think he did just enough of explaining the setting. And, you know, he talked about the problem, why this all started. I think they did a really, really good job. And even talking about how kids are the ones that see the ghosts. So it's like young people are the ones that have to do this, which is kind of sad, because, you know, they die. Some of them die, obviously. So you hear the deaths of children. He really shows a dystopian supernatural world, which I really, really enjoyed. Are you guys even paying attention to me, or are you just paying attention to Mango? I don't know. I keep looking at him. He looks so cute back there. All right. Number 2. The protagonist, Lucy Carlisle, is a talented young ghost hunter. Discuss Lucy's character development throughout the novel, focusing on her strengths, weaknesses, and how she grows as a person. So Lucy has a really unique skill where she can not talk to the ghosts, but she can, she's very sensitive. She can feel the ghost's pain. She even gets flashes of memories of what they've been through or how they died, which is not normal. Most people can only see them, like Lockwood. He can only see their presence. She can actually feel them. She can hear them. So she has a sixth sense. And due to her being sensitive to that, sometimes it can kind of bite her in the butt because she's like more connected to them and she feels their pain. It's almost like an empath. So sometimes it gets her in sticky situations. But in the end, it is a very big strength for the Lockwood company. I would say like that. It's weird because it's a weakness and a strength almost at the same time. And she definitely grows as a person because in the beginning, she's working for a different company. Well, it kind of goes into the past. In the beginning, she's already with Lockwood, and then it goes into the past. And they have supervisors, and the supervisors are the adults, the ones that can't see the ghosts anymore, but they're the ones that kind of tell the children what to do. And she couldn't explain it, but she felt that there was something bad was going to happen. She felt that this ghost was more dangerous than it let on. And she tried to tell the supervisor that, and the supervisor didn't listen because he said, unless you have evidence, and she didn't. It was just a feeling. So she went in and she was hurt, and every single person in her group passed away. They died that night, and that is something she struggled with. So then when she went into Lockwood & Co., she, at first, she keeps that a secret. Lockwood says, it's in the past, I don't need to know. But it does get to the point by the end of the story where she tells him what happened. And he tells her to never ignore that part of herself, to always be open with them and tell them, because what she has is a great, great skill. And it saved their lives. So she has to learn to trust herself, to trust her intuition, and that it does great things. So that's kind of how she grows as a character. What she saw as a weakness, she realized might be a strength. Number 3. The agency Lockwood & Co. is known for its unorthodox methods and independent approach to solving paranormal cases. How does the agency's dynamic, led by Anthony Lockwood, influence the stories and the actions of its members? So, they're unorthodox because they don't have supervisors. In Lockwood's opinion, the supervisors are kind of a waste of time. In a way, I can see what he's talking about because they can't see the ghosts. They don't know what's happening. They're just there to guide the children. But how can they guide the children if they can't see what the children see? I think it's just to give the children almost like a sense of ease. Like, oh, we have an authority. We have someone who's in charge of us. Because children really shouldn't be doing what they're doing. But Lockwood sees that as a waste of time. And I kind of have to agree. Because how can you tell a group of kids what to do when you can't see what they're seeing? So that's why they're unorthodox. And that's why he chooses to be an independent company. So all the other companies, the Ghost Hunters, are under an organization. I think it's called DPRAC, D-E-P-R-A-C, which is kind of like an FBI or a CSI, something like that. But because he doesn't want to have supervisors and all those things, he is an independent company. So he may not be as well off as them. He may not have like the state-of-art equipment, but he is able to do things on his own the way he wants to do. So he does have some struggles. All 3 of them do. But they like the fact that they have more freedom. They have more independence. Can it be a little more dangerous? Yes, because like they said, they don't have the top of the art equipment. But they make it work because they work well as a team, one, and they have great abilities, especially with Lucy on their team. So that's, Lockwood, I wouldn't even say he's the strongest of the group. To my opinion, it's more Lucy. But because he is the owner of the company, he's kind of the one that, I think he is the oldest of the 3 of them. He is the one that kind of like leads them. But I do think he is a good leader. He's very like open to listen to what they say. He's very fair. And he cares about them. He like I said, they work together as a team. It's not him making the decisions. Although sometimes he does make the decisions a little bit. But at the end of the day, he asks their opinion. They talk as a group and they make decisions together for the most part. So, that's how that agency works. It's definitely different from the others. And it's all led by Anthony Lockwood. Number 4, the book explores the concept of teamwork and the importance of trust and cooperation. How did the relationship between Lucy, Lockwood, and George contribute to their success in facing supernatural challenges? Were there any instances where their teamwork faltered, and what were the consequences? So that's exactly what I talked about. They really worked well as a team. Definitely, like, you know, the final scenes when they're in the red room, when they're in the weird freaky cellar with the well. They work amazing as a team. You know, they use Lockwood's vision, they use George's research, and they use Lucy's sensitive hearing well together, for sure. They really work well as a team in that moment. Like, all the testing they have to do, like testing the temperature drops and keeping track of the maps, and they each have their own strengths and weaknesses. And with George, you can't really see them as well, but he's really good at mapping out things, and he's really good at finding the history of things and why things might be happening. Lockwood can see the ghosts really well. Lucy can hear the ghosts really well. So they use those strengths together. A moment where maybe there was some weakness. So that very first exploration they did together in the house, where the house even ended up being burnt down. One, George wasn't even there. So I think they lost a vital member to their team. Two, George felt that Lockwood did it in a rush because he wanted to do more research. So at that beginning, they weren't really like a team yet. I think at the beginning, Lockwood was still like, I'm the leader, I want to do this. I think it's because his agency doesn't have as much equipment, doesn't have as much money. He feels like he needs to do things quickly so he can make money and not have other agencies be hired over them. Because that woman was like, she was at the verge of hiring another agency because she felt weird that there was no adults with them. So he felt like, oh, I need to take care of this problem right away or she's going to hire somebody else. But it showed because they didn't do that research, because George wasn't there, because they didn't have the iron chains. They almost died that night in the beginning of the book. So it shows they really do work together better when they work as a team. That's when they're their strongest. Number 5, The Screaming Staircase features a number of chilling and intense action sequences. Discuss the author's use of suspense and how it enhanced the reading experience. Were there any particular scenes that stood out to you? I mean, all the ghost hunting scenes, there was definitely suspense there. Like, at first, they're just recording the temperatures, but the temperature's dropping. So you know as the temperature's dropping, ghosts are coming around. You know, as they start to see spiders, ghosts are coming. Because you know those are things that all mean ghosts are nearby. Lucy hearing like silence at first, then all of a sudden she hears whispers. But I think the scene that definitely sticks out the most is probably the red room and the staircase, which obviously those are like the two like major ghost haunts. Especially the staircase. They're on the first staircase and they don't hear anything, and you're like, oh, it must have just been a rumor. Then there's a second staircase in the cellar, and I even thought to myself, I said, that's probably the real screaming staircase. And even Lucy had a moment where she like, could this be the real staircase? And they were like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden they hear the screams and they run off the staircase, and they're still hearing the screams. It's meant to like distract them so they can't use their full abilities. That whole scene definitely like was suspenseful. You know something's coming. All of a sudden the ghosts are coming out of the walls, and they're just throwing salt bombs and magnesium flares, and there's a lot of lead up, like I said, with the mention of the temperatures and the spiders and the fog. So he definitely is really good at building up that suspense before like the action sequence. So that is like the scenes that stood out to me the most. Number 6, in the book, there is a divide between the adult agencies and the independent ones run by young agents like Lockwood and Co. How does this divide affect the way Ghost Hunting World operates? What does it say about the roles of adults in dealing with supernatural deaths? Supernatural threats. So, like I said in like that other question, I do feel Lockwood feels adults of kind of a waste of time because they don't have those abilities. They can't see what they see. So it's like, why listen to someone that doesn't know what is going on? So they decide to do away with the adult supervision, and that's why they are run independently. But you see in the real world, sometimes that bites them in the butt, like that first case, that woman didn't know she trusted the agency because there was no adults. I get it. It's like, how can you trust a bunch of 12-year-olds to do this? You know, they're not matured yet. But then again, it's a different time in life. And clearly they are very mature because they're literally risking their lives. It's like insane to me that it's kids that have these abilities. It's sad, but it is the problem. It is what they're dealing with in this time in the book. So in a way, the adults are kind of like a waste of space, at least in my opinion. I mean, they are more, I don't know if mature is the right word, but they might know, they might have better like advice. Like, if Lockwood had adults, they would have said, hey, let's not rush this. Let's do more research. Or, hey, you shouldn't bring that flare into this house. It could start a fire. Things like that. But at the end of the day, if they need that flare to save their lives, they need that flare. And again, I think he rushed. It's not because he wanted to get in there and be like, oh, we're the best agency. I think at the end of the day, he rushed because he needed the money. As you don't really know the history of his parents, but they're not alive, I believe. Like, they're not in his life. So it's a lot of responsibility for someone so young. He has bills to pay. He has that house, the roof over his head, his own company. And these are people that are all like under the age of 18, So that's literally the divide there. It's like, do you really need adults to tell you what to do when they can't really see the things you see, when they can't do the things that you do, the abilities that you have? So the adults don't really have a role, except maybe like guiding the kids into what is like the safest choice. But at the end of the day, they're not seeing what they see, Number 7, the mystery surrounding the ghost of Annabelle Ward is a central plot point in the book. How did the author build suspense and intrigue around the character? Were you satisfied with the resolution of the storyline? Yes, I loved the resolution of the storyline. I'm glad that she got to get her revenge and kill her killer. I really liked the whole Annabelle Ward storyline. I love that it connected with that house at the end of the book. Obviously, no the spoilers here, guys. It's a review. You thought it was going to be two separate things, and no, there definitely was connection. I will say I didn't see that part coming, but when she showed the photograph of of the killer to Annabelle Ward, and Annabelle Ward freaked out. I even said, that photograph probably has multiple people in it, and it's probably not Hugo Blake. Did I expect it to be, I forgot his name, Fairfax? No. But I did have a feeling it wasn't Hugo Blake. I'm like, there's someone else in that photograph that killed her. Because when she said Hugo Blake's name, that ghost had no reaction. When she said the photo, the ghost had a reaction. And then Lockwood makes that connection. And he doesn't tell them right away. I don't like that he kind of left them in the dark with that. But I guess he wanted to be sure. He is the one in charge. It is his company. But I feel like by the end, they are realized now that they should collaborate more together. That they trust each other more. He definitely trusts Lucy and her abilities. But Annabelle Ward, I really like that storyline because it made you see that, these ghosts have feelings. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that they want to harm people. They're just so overwhelmed with everything that happened to them, and they don't really know where to put those feelings. I mean, obviously, she did kill somebody. That's the reason why they have to go into the house. So, in the beginning, she's seen as this, like, really big, scary thing. But it's like, as she connects to Lucy, she becomes less scary. Like, Lucy even feels okay taking her out of the necklace. Lucy knows that, she says she's like, I had a hunch, but I didn't know for sure. She had a feeling she would only attack Fairfax and not them because they weren't the problem. They weren't what harmed her. She just wanted to get her killer. So Lucy really helped her. She freed her. She let her do what she needed to do to pass over. I really, really liked that whole storyline. You guys have to let me know what you think. But I liked that, like I said, that whole thing around Annabelle Ward and how it connected to that house. It was really well done, truly. I didn't see the whole thing coming. I knew there was a little more to the story. So there, and it's, I'm not saying I'm like the best person. I can guess everything. But especially with young adult, I'm usually better at guessing, like who the killer is and stuff. But with that, I truly didn't guess it. I knew there was more to the story, but I didn't guess it. So it really was like, oh, wow. So I loved that about the story. Number 8, Stroud incorporates elements. Oh, Stroud's the author. I'm like, who's that? Incorporates elements of humor into the story, particularly through the character of George Cubbins. How did the humor add to the overall tone and themes of the book? Were there any comedic moments that resonated with you? I mean, George is a foodie, in like my opinion. You know, like the way he always wants to eat the donuts, and the way he's very like food focused. Even the part where at the end of the book where Lucy is getting more donuts for their party, and she like lands on the donuts and she has to like brush off the sugar on her skirt or whatever. I mean, those moments made me chuckle, but I don't think there's any that super resonated with me. I think it was just like a little relief, so it's not always so suspenseful. You know, like George leaves his underwear in the bathroom and like things like that. But I don't think it added that much to the story, to be honest with you guys. I was focused more on like the ghost hunting part of the story. Number 8. I mean, no, that was number 8. Number 9. The Screaming Staircase touches on themes of death, loss, and the afterlife. How did the book handle these themes? And what insights or questions did it raise for you as a reader? Obviously, it's going to touch on death and loss and afterlife. I mean, we're literally talking about ghost hunters here. I guess that depends on who you are as a person, you know, like, do you believe in the afterlife? Do you believe in heaven and hell? Do you believe in God? Do you believe in ghosts? I truly believe in all those things. You know, I do believe ghosts sometimes have unfinished business. I mean, I would hope they wouldn't harm like they do in these stories. They're scary. But do I believe sometimes that, you know, my grandmother is with me? 100,000%. I believe that about my grandmother, my grandfather. I do think when my nephew was born prematurely in the hospital last year, I do believe my grandmother was there for that. The whole time he was in the NICU, I felt he was there. I felt she was there. Even my mom said she felt her presence. But I would hope they don't harm. Do I believe there's maybe some ghosts out there that do have that ability? Possibly. I don't even want to think about that because that is scary to me. I don't do horror. I never watched the Blair Witch Project or Poltergeist or Exorcist or any of those things. Do I believe it might exist? Yes. Do I want to think about it? No. You guys let me know, like, on that question. You know, we don't have to get into religion or anything, but do you think there is an afterlife? Do you believe in ghosts? I'm really curious to hear your opinions on that. No right or wrong answer. Obviously, we all believe in different things, but I do believe that, truly. And then number 10, what are your overall thoughts about the book? If you watched the TV show, what did you think about the casting? So I did not watch the TV show. I wanted to read the book first. I absolutely loved it. 5 stars in my opinion. So I will 100,000% be watching the series. It is on Netflix, which I don't have right now. Hopefully in the future. I'm just trying to budget and figure out some savings right now. So I don't have Netflix at the moment, which is kind of making me sad because I really wanted to watch Emily in Paris. And what's the other one that's about to... Love is Blind is about to come out again. But at some point, I will have Netflix again in my life, and I will watch it. Let me know if you guys watched the series. Did you love it? Did you enjoy the book? I definitely 100% loved the book. Even before I read it, like I said, I was getting those like high school Taylor vibes, and I had a feeling I would enjoy it, and I truly, truly did enjoy it. I just finished it yesterday. I was up till 1:30 in the morning. It was weird. I read like a huge chunk like last week, went like a week without picking it up, then picked it up again and finished it. I really, really enjoyed it. I am definitely, whether the next book wins or not for the voting poll, I do plan on reading the next one. I think at some point I will read the whole series because I did really, truly enjoy it. I believe the series was canceled. Is there only one season? You guys let me know. And I'm curious, does that season only touch on the Screaming Staircase? Or does it talk about the other books? Because if it does, I'd rather wait to watch it and read all the books first. Because I don't want to ruin and have any spoilers. I always like to read before I watch. So you guys can fill me in on that, or I can do some research. But yeah, let me know what you thought of the book. Did you enjoy it? What would you give it as your star rating? I know I really, really loved it. I loved the build-up. I loved the setting. I loved the paranormal and all that things. I used to love that stuff back in the day. So I kind of ate it up. It'd been a while since I read that. You guys know I do a lot of romance now. So it was definitely good to read something different. And I love the final wrap up at the end with Annabelle Ward and Fairfax. It was a very well-written book in my opinion. The build up to it, and then the reveal, and then it all wrapped up nicely with Annabelle Ward getting her revenge. I loved it. It was incredible to me. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Check out next week so you guys can see what we are reading officially for September. And be safe, guys. Oh, don't forget, go check out Charmaine. Charmaine also did the review. I've always loved watching her reviews because she gets so excited talking about the books. I know she loved the book as well. She'll be linked down below. She'll be in my title. Go click Charmaine, see what she thought of the book, and be safe, guys.